Hello everybody, it's me, Miss Devlin, and welcome to your math lesson for the day. Hopefully you were able to watch the money song because that's going to help you learn about how much each coin is worth. Now, all you need for today's lesson is your answer page. If you don't have a printer, that is okay. Just take a piece of paper, write the numbers 1 through 8, and then you can just write your answers next to the numbers. Another thing that if you want, you can print out are the pigs. I ended up cutting mine. You don't need to have these pigs printed out, but they're there for you if you want them. Now, the final thing you're going to need are your coins. So let's talk about them first. The first coin you're going to need is a penny. And you're going to need 4 of them. So you're going to want to have 4 pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I have 4 pennies, my brain knows that I have 4 cents because a penny is only worth 1 cent. And it's kind of special because it's the only coin that's copper. So if you see a copper coin, your light bulb should go off in your brain and say, oh, that's worth 1 cent. So when we count pennies, we only have to count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. However many pennies you have, when you count them, you just count by ones. You're also going to need 2 nickels. You might want to have your parents help you find which one is a nickel. And a nickel is worth 5 cents. This is what the back looks like. And a nickel is silver. It's not the biggest coin, but it's also not the smallest coin. So it's a little bit tricky to find. Now, when we see a nickel, we know this is worth 5 cents. So if we're counting nickels, we have to count by 5s. I only have 2 right now, so I would count like this. 5, 10, but if I had more, I have another one here. 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so when you have a nickel, you count by 5s. And the last coin we're going to talk about today is the dime. Go ahead and pick it up if you have it. And this is what the dime looks like. It is actually the smallest coin, and it's a little bit confusing because a dime is worth 10 cents. So when we count dimes, we count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, however many dimes you have, you would count by 10. But here's the confusing part. A nickel is bigger than a dime, but the dime is worth more. The dime is worth 10 cents, but the nickel is only worth 5 cents. So why is it smaller? No one knows. That's just how they made it. That's why it becomes a little bit tricky for our brains, but the more we practice with money, the better we get. So all you need for this lesson is your answer page, 4 pennies, 2 nickels, and 1 dime. And today we're going to practice counting money. So I'm going to show you a picture of a piggy bank. And we are going to first look at the piggy bank and think to ourselves, well, what do we see in that piggy bank? Do we see pennies? Do we see nickels? Do we see dimes? Do we see pennies and dimes? Do we see pennies and nickels? So I'm gonna hold up the first piggy bank. And if you were able to print this, you can just point to it. Take a look at this first piggy bank. What coin do you see there? Do you see pennies? Do you see nickels? Or do you see dimes? That's right, there's pennies there. And pennies are worth 1 cent. So when we count these pennies, we're gonna count by ones. Now, if you have your own pennies, I want you counting those, okay? So as I count these pennies, you're going to count your real pennies. So the question is, how much money is in this piggy bank? Let's count together. 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, and 4 cents. So how much money is this in this piggy bank? 4 cents. So what are you gonna do? Next to the number 1, you are going to write the number 4. Because that's how much money was in the piggy bank. Now, if you wanna know a little bit of a trick, if you wanna say 4 cents, right next to that 4, you're gonna draw a little C and you're gonna put a line through it. Boop. That's the symbol for cents. That's a little bit of a trick that you can use. So 4 cents was in piggy bank number 1 because there was 4 pennies. All right, let's move on to that second piggy bank. It's a little bit trickier. Here is piggy bank number 2. Now take a look at those coins. Do those coins look like a nickel, which is worth 5 cents? Or does it look like it's a dime? Look at the faces on them, which is 10 cents. If you said nickel, you are correct. These are 2 nickels. 2 nickels. If you look at the face on the nickel, they match. Now, we know nickels are worth 5 cents, but there's 2 of them. So in our heads, we have to think, what is 5 plus 5 more? So 5 plus 5, or we can count by 5s using our coins. Let's do it. We have 5, 10. So how much money is in piggy bank number 2? Is 10 cents. 5, 10, because they're each worth 5 cents, and there's 2 of them, just like 5 plus 5. So go ahead, and number 2, you're gonna write the number 10 because there's 10 cents, because there was 2 nickels, and 5 plus 5 equals 10. And then if you want, you can do the little C with a line through it. That's a little trick that tells us we're talking about cents. So, moving on to piggy bank number 3. Uh-oh, this one's getting a little bit trickier. As you can see, we already know the copper ones are a penny. And we know that pennies are worth 1 cent. But there's also a nickel. Because look at that face on that coin. There's also a nickel. And a nickel is worth 5 cents. So we have to say to ourselves, we have 5, 1, and 1. So in order to count this, we need to take the number 5 and add the pennies to it. And I'm gonna do that with my real money. So I'm gonna start with my biggest number. When we count coins, we always wanna start with the 1 that's the most. And in this picture, the nickel is the most because the nickel is worth 5 and the pennies are only worth 1. So we have 5. What comes after 5? We're adding 1. 6. There was another penny. 7. So I have 5, 6, 7. So how much money is in this piggy bank? 5, 6, 7. 7 cents. Go ahead and write it down for number 3. And if you want, do that little C with a line through it. 7 cents in that piggy bank. All right, moving on to piggy bank number 4. All right, so our brain should already know, oh, that's a penny because it's copper, and we know a penny is worth 1 cent. But take a look at this guy. Is this a nickel? Ooh, let me put this the right way. Do those two people look the same? Is that a nickel or is it a dime? Think to yourself, is it a nickel or a dime? If you said dime, you are correct. Now we need to think, how much is a dime worth? Remember, it's the smallest coin, but it's not worth the least. A dime is worth 10 cents. So we have 10 and one more. So let's count our money. Get your dime, put it in your hand, say 10. Grab your penny. What is one more than 10? So we have 10, 11. So how much money is in piggy bank number 4? 10, 11 cents. So for number 4, write the number 11, a 1 and a 1. And then if you want to be fancy, you can write your cent sign. Okay, we are moving on to number 5. Take a look at this piggy bank. Once again, we should notice already, those are 3 pennies. We know they're pennies because they're copper, and we know pennies are worth 1 cent. Now, once again, take a look at this coin. Does it look like a nickel? Or does it look like a dime? Does it look like a nickel or a dime? If you said dime, you are right, and a dime is worth 10 cents. So I want you to get 1 dime and 3 pennies and put them in your hand. And we're gonna count them together. So we always wanna start with the largest number, which is 10. So we have 10, but now we're counting by pennies. So we're gonna count up by 1. So keep 10 in your head. 10, 11, 12, 13. So how much money is in piggy bank number 5? We have 10, then count on, 11, 12, 13. 13 cents in that piggy bank. You can write that number in number 5. There it is. Okay, moving on to number 6. Here it is. Take a look. We already know that's a penny, but we really have to look at this to figure out what it is. So, is that coin a dime? Do those two have the same face? Or is that coin a nickel, which is worth 5? Look at the faces. If you said nickel, you are right. So number 6, I'm gonna have you do on your own. So we know this is 5 cents, and we know this is 1 cent. So in your brain, you have to think, what is 5 and 1 more? Okay, I'm not going to tell you the answer. I want you to try number 6 on your own. Remember, it's 5 and 1 more. How much is in piggy bank number 6? Write that answer right here. Now, you can stop right here because you already did a fantastic job learning how to count money. Or number 7 and 8 is where you get to create your own piggy banks. So let's say I wanted to create something for number 7. Let's say I had more money, and let's say I wanted to do 2 dimes in my piggy bank. Well, I know dimes are worth 10, so that means I have to count by 10. 10, 20. Okay, so you can make up whatever you want. Or what if I had 7 pennies? Well, pennies are worth 1 cent, so all I would have to do is count them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cents. So for number 7 and 8, this is, like I said, it's bonus, but you get to make up your own piggy banks and write how much you counted in those 2 spaces. All right. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you enjoyed the money song. That song always gets stuck in my head throughout the day, and I'm always singing it. When you are done, you can either take a picture of you doing your money activity, or you can take a picture of your answer key and upload it to your Dojo portfolio. All right, I hope you had fun counting money. I hope when everything opens back up, you can help your parents count some money in the grocery store or when the ice cream truck comes by. Those are just some ways you can use math out in the world. All right, I miss you all dearly, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.